In the bottom right, in the red, last season's fall champion of the DreamHack Online season is the best undead of Asia, is 120. And the top left, a man who has so many accolades, really doesn't need introduction anymore. The fifth race, the most legendary, most successful player of all time for WarCraft 3 is Moon. And first thing we need to look at, of course, are the opening builds. Keeper opening against DK, but there is a little bit of a spin on this for 120. He went for Crypt and Ziggurat first, not an Altar right, Altar and Ziggurat first. He delayed the Crypt a little bit, so going for a fast DK opening, but not the Tet Fiends as we're used to seeing. So 120 surprisingly opting for very fast Death Knight and is going to go harass with that as well. As I mentioned, fast expos are a possibility, especially on Tidehunters, very playable by 120. A little surprising to me at least, playing this really aggressive at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe looking to try and keep his opponent down experience-wise here in the early game. Very important to do against a keeper. We know that Moon, if he gets level 3 very quickly, he can make wonders happen. Like his map presence is always going to be really good. Wisps everywhere that cannot even be attacked a lot of the time. Like we see a great wisp actually on the high ground at the lab at the bottom side of the map. Getting a bit of vision, if there were to be any movement around that area. Moon is for sure the guy that loads up a game against like computer or on his own and just like practices wisp positioning.
Yeah, especially on Tidehunters here. You can do that on both sides. This tree on the high ground is so good for the wisps. I expect this is going to be dewarded. Well, that's not the right term. But this is going to be scouted for a lot more in the future because of how much wonderful scouting information this gives. Might even see the ghouls moving out. I'm not sure if this was in vision range. But yeah, 5 ghouls are leaving the base and coming towards the north, trying to make this keeper's life even more difficult. 120 so far was doing a good job preventing experience being gathered, but now finally the keeper does get level 2, the first tiny slip up by 120, perhaps giving now Entangle to the keeper.
Yeah, Death Knight needs to be careful here. He doesn't have his staff quite yet. Of course, he has some decent firepower here with the Rod of Necromancy and at least 2 Death Guards. 120, like this harass hasn't done a ton so far, but he's preventing the keeper from doing any extra camp. On this map, yes, the first camp is always going to be super easy, but after that, unless you want to do the really small camps, like all these small green that we see actually 120 going into right now, it's going to be harder to actually creep very effectively. So I think that's the whole game plan right now for 120 is to prevent Moon from getting level 3 for a while. He can only prevent it for so long. As soon as there is 4 archers here, now there was enough firepower for Moon to creep that expo, and he's going to take it on location by the good things.
120 scouts this and did allow it, I suppose. This opening, by the way, pretty reminiscent of what we saw from Happy and DreamHack, wasn't it? The DK harassing right away, the ghouls creeping up in the meantime, getting level 2 for the DK, later even maybe level 3. Happy did that with Backpack as well. That's not the case here, but the DK still got some items, Sentry Ward and some small stat items. Sentry in the middle right away at the tavern. Might he be expecting a Tavern Hero second? Seems rather unlikely, because Keeper Demon pretty much is what all denials are playing nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's to see the entire middle. It's actually very well placed. If you put it too close to the trees, maybe there is one whole side you won't be able to see. As Keeper is about to get level 3 here, in the center with the creeps that were left over by 120, he was just so worried about the Keeper that he wanted to get out of there a long time before the Keeper was ever going to show up. And he sees the tree on the expansion. Moon, whenever he goes for an expansion, which is in a lot of his games recently, he's been very good at hanging out around it and making sure the opponent never gets there to cancel it.
They're going to continue to creep now. Needs to get that level 3. This early game for the Undead wasn't too great. The Keeper got level 3 way before him. The expansion is coming up and is not going to be cancelled on the Night Elf side. And this is, of course, the big advantage that the Keeper provides for now. This is the biggest reason why he's being picked. He's really good at fast expanding and also at pressuring a fast expansion on the other side. Keeper has some pitfalls. Later on in the late game, he's going to be not so useful anymore once there are destroyers. But of course, for Undead, it always takes a while until the late game tier 3 unit is unlocked.
It seems like 120 is doing the one base style where you do a 50 supply push on the Night Elf expansion, but Moon, it's his specialty to defend against this. 120 looked really good against Night Elf previously in this tournament when he faced off against Lowlight, but those were very different games. Like Lowlight played Warden first twice, and then in one of the in the only other game he played Demon, Naga, and Panda. So now he's facing that brand new style that we've been seeing a lot of, that has looked perhaps the most convincing out of any style right now, with the Keeper into Demon. So I wonder how this is gonna go, because Moon from there, he just gets a ton of Dryads. It just feels like ghouls when they attack, they can't really do much against this.
Demon almost getting surrounded here, but the archers instantly into Shadow Meld. There was some detection from the Sentry Ward if it was to be placed, but 120 holds on to it. And Moon, interesting choice here by him in the mid game. He's trying to slow down the enemy creeping as much as he can, which comes at a price. The Demon Hunter is going to be underleveled quite a bit. Another option would have been for just the Keeper solo to harass and the Demon to level up. But no, Moon is trying to halt 120's progress by all means.
Yeah, like as good as it is to level up your Demon to level 3 quickly, and it is really good, your heroes, when you make them, they always come out with full mana. So the point here might have been to use all of that mana on the Demon, which he otherwise wouldn't have used at all if he had just been creeping. Mana burn those undead heroes a whole bunch, and then I really thought he was going to try and contest that expansion camp here of 120, but Moon should know about all the important timings. We're almost at the 8th minute, and as we can see, there's the Ghoul Frenzy upgrade already on the way. It's almost like halfway through done. So maybe he could have just already pictured 120 buying a bit more time, Frenzy finishing, and then his archers getting jumped on top of by very rabid Frenzy Ghouls. So he was like, okay, I'll just get out of there and start creeping my Demon instead.
This could be a scary timing by 120. Frenzy about to finish, Destroyer form as well. He's got the Orb now. Could fit in a Tinker, and their push towards the expansion could be deadly for Moon. He's got the Ancient of War there, a Moonwell, and an AP. He's expecting a push to come. He's trying to get ready, but another ingredient you want to be ready is a level 3 Demon. He doesn't have that. Demon is level 2. He's got some great survivability items, but he's lacking that level 2 mana burn still. And if 120 picks up that Tinker and goes north, that could be a winning play.
Lich level 1 with plus 24. He found a claws plus 9, a claws plus 5, circlet and mantle. That Lich is a beast.
The player's forces are under attack.
And 120 is creeping a lot here. Continues to creep with the Lich. He's gonna get level 2, clears out the expansion. From Happy, we've seen lots of counter expanding lately in the late game on around 50 supply or so, and Foggy was never really able to punish that. That's why we saw the 3-0 there in Europe. But there's no Acolyte yet, so perhaps no counter X, but I wonder if 120 wants to push. Isn't he taking too much time here?
Yeah, it seems like he just wants to level his heroes a little more, and then he's still gonna push, I believe, because he's getting a Disease Cloud. He already made Burrow for Fiends. Sometimes you feel the pressure against this build because of the expansion to push very quickly, but I've seen some undeads do it too early without 50 supply. And sometimes they also do it too late. In this case, right now, it looks like if 120 just goes into like 60 supply, you know, with one Bomb and one more Fiend, he would have a lot of Fiends to try and deal with those Dryads. If you push too early and you have mostly Ghouls and 1 or 2 Fiends, how are you going to deal with Dryads? This is what I was talking about earlier. The Dryads, they slow all the Ghouls, they take them out, and then you're just in big trouble. Whereas now, he already has 4 Fiends. Okay, now he recused Burrow, actually. He had cancelled it earlier. And he doesn't quite go for the first bomb here. Maybe this was like safety Disease Cloud. I mean, I prefer seeing it this way than seeing an bomb without Disease Cloud on the map, I'll tell you that.
And the Treant Scout down here was wonderful. Saw the Acolyte, 120 not going for the expansion. This seems to be a fake out almost. He's going into upkeep. Abom on the way. At the tavern, ready. Could go for a Tinker once more. First Destroyer morphed now. Pretty late, all things considered, but it wasn't needed before. And 120 seems like he wants to push in, apply some pressure at the expo, and maybe counter expand behind it. The Acolyte is still ready for that.
If Moon had been getting attacked earlier, he would have just stayed on pure Dryads and gone a lot of them, but then he saw that 120 was creeping, so he's like, okay, you're either gonna hit late or you're gonna counter expand, so I'll just take to tier 3, go into Bears now. Tier 3 is almost finished for Moon. He's gonna be able to grab an orb very quickly after that. He intercepts the Dark Ranger in center. I was like, what is this keeper doing there? He doesn't even have Staff of Telly. The Rune Bracers, by the way, so amazing on the Demon here. He can just go in, mana burn in the middle of the army, pull back, get rejuvenated.
The Dark Ranger is a very weird hero to see. Normally only played against the Warden, where you want to have a very survivable hero that can be coiled. But Dark Ranger, in terms of our spells, isn't really that effective against Night Elf, usually. Now we see the counter expansion coming up by 1-0. This also feels like it could have been a little bit earlier. So far, it seems like 1-0 isn't hitting these timings super crisp, super perfect. But he's still in this game for certain. If you get this counter expansion comes up, he's not going to be in a bad position. Coil takes out the bear. Moon is not ready yet with Master Training.
He's going to tangle at the back. That false dispel there from the Destroyer. Meaning that the Demon can safely rejuvenate. But he don't have Orb yet. He sells a ring, buys Orb just before the shop was to be sniped. DK already has no mana. He has greater mana. That's going to give him 250 back. Keeper on the other side doing some damage on the statue. Demon going low. He has the big invuln, but needs to be careful. Gets staffed just on time. And this looks like it should be a hold here for Moon.
Air count is still pretty low, so you can snipe them fairly effectively. 1-1 upgrade on the Bears already. Demon in trouble. Dodges the coil. Big mana invested. Traded for a big invul potion on the other side. Demon Hunter now trying to get in the burns. DK, good positioning, trying to run away from the mana burns. And Moon losing quite a few valuable units. Another bear goes down. That's the third one in total. Rejuvenation runs through. Doesn't quite get dispelled in time. There it is. And the Keeper has to TP out. It seemed like 1-0. This was just a distraction push for him, but actually it's looking really, really well. He killed a lot of units, and now the expansion is about to finish.
Oh my goodness. He mana burned the DK immediately after the greater mana went through and before the code was gonna go through. That was so insane. It was like a split-second mana burn that got through at the perfect time. Now the DK has a coil again, but Moon working with double staff of preservation. Trying to hold on. He did such a good job buying time. He's going to use that Moonwell maybe before he goes down. No, there's quite a bit of juice in this one.
1-0 is buying the time he needs to get his expansion up. Once there's enough bears, there should be a hold for Moon on paper. 1-1 upgrades are superior to the undead side, but not by that much. Ideally, you would like to be on 2-2, 3-2. That's when Night Elf late game armies are really strong. And also not having the second orb, a little painful. Plus, of course, the Keeper spells at this point in the game not too impactful anymore. Heavy focus on the Demon once again. That hero cannot fall, and there's a staff reserved for him. Keeper gets to level 4. That level up perhaps not too impactful though. But now mana is completely gone by 1-2-0. He's going to have to TP out here before too long, but he wants to kill as much as he can before having to do so. Now is the time.
Oh, the Demon,
DK gets out. Demon Hunter! There's no staff for him! Oh, big mistake by Moon. He didn't have a potion or anything anymore because the shop was taken out earlier. 1-2-0 hitting between the two bases, which is pretty rare to see on this map where it seems to be such a protected position, this avenue.
He's going to
Gets
instant
a
revive.
huge hero kill.
He's going to instant revive here, not really much of a choice. The mistake was, like there was a bear being targeted, you're supposed to staff it out with your demon when that's the case, because then you save the staff of preservation of the Keeper for the demon when he gets targeted, but he did it the other way around. He used the staff of preservation from the Keeper, and then the demon not having any more invuln. Definitely a mistake. I don't think it will be him getting overconfident because he has Rune Bracers, and he's like, oh yeah, my demon can never die, because that definitely would be pretty bad. Oh yeah, loses a Demon Hunter, and this is the kind of mistake that, you know, will give the opponent Death Knight level 5 earlier than he should, which is one of the scariest levels here possible. Moon is pulling the camp at the top. He wants to creep that red camp, and he may have been spotted here from the Destroyers. They get quite a bit of vision being air units.
Moon's army is getting stronger and stronger though. The Hippo transition coming in on 2 base. Moon loves playing Hippos. 2 base, double Ancient of Wind, and then mass Hippos coming in. The closer the armies get to 80, 100 supply, normally the better it gets for the Night Elf, because it becomes harder and harder for the huge undead army to focus things with everything blocking each other in the orb of corruption not being so efficient anymore. Push towards the expansion, but Nature's Blessing is there. Neo will be happy, but it's still a couple of wisps going down here. The Lich is very close to level 4. There it is, and you know what that means. +4 intelligence, baby. And a bit of Dark Ritual perhaps as well. This Dark Ranger so far hasn't been too impressive, but it's the army and the other 2 heroes that really delivering for 1-2-0. He doesn't quite take out a bear there. The double staff nicely coming into play again. And now we're sitting 2 base and nearing 80 supply on both sides.
Yeah, this Lich hits like a truck for like 50 damage. But look at the Demon Hunter. And he's not even roared here right now. He got Claws +12.
player's forces
This
are
guy is
under
just gonna be insane in the fights. Level 4 now. Rune Bracers makes him so durable in those fights. Moon gets a shredder. Yeah, actually, that's the perfect choice. He lost almost the entire wisp line that he had around the expo. So he's repairing the expo back to full. Of course, he has Nature's Blessing. I mean, he knows that Neo's watching. He wouldn't want to let him down. And on the other side, there's 2 Fiends stuck in the main base of 120. Are you joking me? No.
You realize it now.
Happens to the best of us, guys.
There's an attack coming towards the expansion. This would, in theory, be a good position for 120 to fight on Blight, but more importantly than Blight and towers is room to move back. Room to kite. If you're stuck against the trees, even if it's your base, it's not a good position. So 120 may just want to go for the counterattack, but no. He changes his mind. TP is ready.
Where, though? Where do you TP? On the right side? Like all the way on the right? It's so hard to pick.
Yeah, I think
Very
on the
risky
right of
wherever
the,
he goes.
of the Necro. Oh,
Ooh,
he is going
he's
into
kinda
the
stuck.
corner.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he has to back out of there right away. He needs to be able to kite away. Entangle on the DK. Not going to do too much. Hippogriffs find the destroyers in the back. And where are the webs? I feel like we haven't seen enough webs over here. Nova now lands big time. And that's the good position now for 120. A-bomb in front. And the bears basically can't connect anymore.
Yeah, but the engagement was still really poor. Only 1 upgrades here for Moon, so he's definitely tried to rush to 80 supply first here before queuing more of those. Hippos get caught. That means Moon has to step in and try and defend whatever he can here. There's 3 destroyers now, so that's a lot of damage against those bears, but Acolytes are falling at the expansion. Moon just wants to get ahead. Even if he has to town portal after here, it would be well worth it. 120 tries to go for the Keeper. Moon reacts very quickly and pulls that back. Looks like it's going to be a gold mine snipe here before he town portal out, with a great double staff before that.
120 wants to make this painful as possible, but he doesn't find too many kills there. Good attack by Moon, but it's not a game-winning play. Like, this expansion is going to be up again in around 1.5 minutes. At 120, he still got the big army. He didn't lose too much army, so he doesn't need mass production right now. This is oftentimes a misconception. Killing an expansion is only really good if the opponent needs to produce right away, which 120 doesn't have to. He's still got decent gold. He's making it to the middle. He can go for a heal scroll or an invul here. Oh, it's a TP actually. He wants to apply pressure now to the enemy base, enemy expansion. And 120 still has a slight supply leaked somehow.
I think the problem for 120 might be if there is way more hippos made, because he has only 4 fiends right now. But Moon is down to 4 hippos, which is kind of perfect. For 120, he can web all of them. If he doesn't, though, and those destroyers start falling, that's going to be a big problem. Hippos kind of went at the front by themselves. That's a recurring mistake that we've seen sometimes in this matchup. Yeah, the demon ready to get back to work here. There's triple statue, actually, in the midst of all this. The ground army of 120 not looking that scary right now. DK is level 5, though. Some big nuke potential. Let's see if he can win this fight somehow.
Both A-bombs lost now, so the front line is gone, but also Disease Cloud has been spread already. Take note of the DK positioning. Always out of range of the Demon Hunter. 120, one of the best in the world at that, but everything dropping really low for the end. He's gonna have to TP out. Dark Ranger about to drop over here. Has to go for the Invul Potion. Unburrow in time. And that was another Fiend going down. I think there was 2 A-bombs
oh, the Keeper is
and a
stuffing.
Fiend lost.
Oh, the Treant expired. There was 3 Treants attacking the expansion the whole time. They almost took it out, but they expired just before. And he was gonna staff the Keeper. I think that staff was 1 second away from completing, and the Treant expired. Very unfortunate for Moon. I think he would have been able to kill that gold mine without that. But he might be able to still. Oh my god. 3 of those bears have 1 HP here from Disease Cloud in the main base of Moon.
Where's that mana now? Where's the rejuve? With new bears coming, it should be solvable. So the big question mark here, which is the really unusual part, is the Dark Ranger. I don't know, maybe I'm just a Dark Ranger hater, which is unusual to hear from me, but has her impact really been felt this game? The silences have done nothing. The skeletons, were they good? I feel like I haven't seen much from her.
Yeah, those Dryads are really safe at the back, and he has double here, so as long as Moon's careful, like if you have 3 Dryads, you can deal with, you know, most amount of skeletons, and also a silence. So it doesn't really feel like Dark Ranger has had a big impact. You might be right. Double hero might be the better choice here if you're the undead.
Forces are under attack.
Yeah, this is not something that anybody else really plays. I wonder, wouldn't a Tinker in this position have been better, maybe? Would love to hear from 120 later on the Dark Ranger third if he should win. But we're far from that. This game is still very even. Still 2-base, 2-base. Noteworthy, by the way, the Night Elf expansion will expire first. So, for that reason, Moon under a little pressure. But he has good upgrades. 2-2 now on the Bears against only 1-0 on the Fiends. The Bear upgrades, in general, the Night Elf upgrades in the late game, one of their biggest strengths.
Moon didn't have Mark of the Claw until now, by the way. He's only now starting this. Of course, against Destroyers, it can be risky to use that. Uses the Dust here. Could actually target that Fiend at the back. It's very, very low right now. Demon, level 5 would be a big power level for him to get. He's kind of at the front on his own here. Needs to be careful, but 120 not quite targeting him. He's putting all of the target fire onto those hippos. As soon as they get webbed, he wants to get rid of them. He wants the Destroyers to be able to dominate those bears.
And the hippos are dropping low in numbers quite quickly. Demon Hunter finally staffed out, but he's got another staff to come back into this. We see it right now. Telly staff on the way. DK doesn't have mana potion anymore. Lich in trouble as well. Has to go for the invul potion. Entangle there. Threaten his life. And Moon might be able to close this out right now. Still a big army for Moon remaining. Everything is a little bit hurt, but it seems to be doable. Not too many hippos left. Destroyers, many of them about to fall. 120 kiting as much as he can. But Moon is also finding more kills. Gets another Fiend right there. Demon Hunter almost level 5. And he can play so recklessly with his Demon Hunter because he got these great items. Periap and Rune Bracers. Amazing for him. Plus, of course, the double staff. But again, fighting on Blight against another expansion.
Only one single Fiend left. Those Undead Heroes. A lot of mana is gone here. That DK is struggling to replenish any mana at this point. Moon, he went Trance level 3 here to pressure the expansion a lot while he kind of zones out the Undead army at the same time. Remember that he can also move his main tree to the left-hand side if he wants to. He could also make a new tree there. He's the richer one of the two. He's been dealing so much damage with those units. Demon going low. Staff is up. He gets staff just on time. Yet again, and Moon with the Town Portal after killing the Haunted Gold Mine. Gets way ahead here from this attack.
120. I don't know how he's been saving so much money, but look at the bank. 1,200 gold. He can remake that 80 supply army right now. I think the bigger problem for him is army composition. He's got 3 statues out of mana, so for those to be efficient, he kind of needs to morph them into destroyers. In which case, he would have 7 destroyers, which seems way too much.
Yeah.
Awkward position there now for 120, but yeah, gold isn't really the issue. He should remake that expansion. The main is about to run out.
He just delayed a lot here, the retaking of that expo. That's kind of weird because there's 7,000 left on there. You definitely need to mind that. And he was pretty rich. Where that double boneyard out, man? Let's see. You don't even need a sack pit for it anymore. There were so many bears.
Save those 75 gold, dude. It's a deal. He's gonna abandon the bottom left expo, maybe. He's heading top right. But there's a Wisp there to scout it. It's still nighttime, so vision advantage for Moon, which is a big deal in these late game fights for perfect engagements. And the Demon Hunter, 1 single kill away from level 5. A tower would do it, an Acolyte would do it.
He's not expanding in the bottom left for some reason.
Yeah, that really confuses me. There's
If
a
he
Necro
did-
and a tower there already.
Yeah, and if he did also, he'd be towards the other location where Night Elf would want to expo, which is on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Maybe he was worried that Moon might take the right-hand side himself and then just like kind of run around the map perfectly in a way where it's like really hard to deal with the hit and run. Yeah, he's just gonna give up that expo down. And Moon probably pretty happy. He's like, okay, well, I know you're expanding on the other side, most likely. That's a lot of hippos, by the way. There's barely any fiends. There's only 5 fiends.
And that's the problem with mass destroyers in the late game. They get countered really hard by anti-air. In the case of Night Elf, it's hippos. Against human, for example, it would be gyros. And those destroyers, man, let me tell you, they give a lot of experience when you kill them.
Yeah. And that would be a very important experience here to get towards level 6, as we have level 5, 1, 3, and 5. Moon is always so good at being very proactive with Trance on the map, by the way. He just resummoned another set that he's sending towards the expo of 120. That's gonna kill these Acolytes and probably do damage on the gold mine unless 120 runs there. But Moon, he's ready to fight. His 2-2 upgrades, so many hippos to deal with those Destros. Still sends another set of Trance to the expansion while he's gonna start mining on the left-hand side. He's all over the place right now.
1-0 again has to kite like crazy. He has level 3 Nova, the best thing you can have in the world against hippos, but they're not connecting perfectly. Lip was being staggered somewhat, and Moon is doing a good job of that. Lich caught in the back with Entangle, has to use the Invul Potion. DK was almost getting burned right there. Again, 1-0 is trying to stay away out of mana burn range, but here did get burned. Has 1 mana potion left, but only 1. And the Lich is almost out of mana as well. It's all about the mana points here for the Night Elf. Frost Armor coming in, no Nova left, and I think Moon is cleaning up the rest of the fight. Now he killed so many Destroyers that the Keeper gets level 6. The Demon Hunter is missing because he couldn't get back to the Moonwells quickly, but he wasn't needed for this whole fight for the entirety. GG called, and Moon takes the lead.
What a freaking game to open the day. What an amazing back and forth. What a crazy multitasking. Both players all over the place. It was a little bit of a weird game, as you guys pointed out pretty well. The timings were different than we're used to seeing, I guess, but it all worked out well. Man, Moon is so good at killing expansions of his opponent in the very, very last millisecond before the town portal goes off.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. He did the same thing to Focus in Anaheim. He did the same thing to Lin yesterday, and he does it again, man. These timings are just out of this world. He's not calculating this. He's just feeling it, and that for you is Moon. 1-0 can probably fix a couple of his mistakes or the army composition. He has definitely stuff left in the tank, so we give these guys a little bit of a rest after this 25-minute banger, and then we follow this up with Concealed Hill. See you in a bit. We're back at the DreamHack Open Summer for Warcraft 3, and that was a crazy opening already. Moon taking the 1-0 lead over 120 on Tidehunters, and Tidehunters was one of the undead maps.
Yeah, and a map where I could have definitely seen a fast expansion. 120 has been playing that quite a bit, although Moon is good at countering it with Hunts and Keeper and so on. But there's only a few maps where this is going to be possible, the Fast Expo. And 120 does want to throw in a few different builds here and there. Our next map, Concealed Hill, is definitely not available for a Fast Expo. So 120 again is going to have to opt for the late game counter expansion if he does want to counter expand at all. And speaking of counter expos, I think that was the big problem in that first game. It was so late. He went up to 60 supply first before starting the counter expo. When we look at Happy, for example, he goes for that way sooner. Not even 50 supply, more like 45. Set up the counter expansion, get it rolling as quickly as you can, because the Night Elf is going to be stuck on only 50 supply Dryads for a long time. He has to go for upgrades and Moonwells and defensive structures and so on. So I think 120, if he wants to get this tier 3 counter expansion again, he needs to be a little faster with it. And if he's faster, he can also finally get better upgrades more quickly to keep up with the Night Elf late game.
Well, we'll see if 120 is listening to the coach or if Moon is running away with the series. Map number 2 is up. This is now Moon's map, and this is where we've seen Foggy being very successful against Undead as well. So it's not gonna be an easy task for sure for 120 here, but he has all the tools in the world to make it happen. Let's see if he can bring it to the table here on Championship Sunday. We move on to map number 2.
Concealed Hill, a unique map for various reasons. We have an uneven number of gold mines, namely 5, with the one neutral one being in the middle. We have health fountains, and we have quite a few heavy red camps for big items and big experience. And on this map, in this matchup, this is where we see gargoyles the most. It's kind of a European classic, was not played at all in Asia for years and years and years. But 120, capable of playing all styles, may mix them in here this time.
And Moon is such a legend. Like, I was just thinking about his run in these tournaments. He started off pretty strong, 1-0 against Mikael, but then that's where the trouble began. He lost to Sock after a questionable Tinker first, fell to the decider match of that Group D, met Fortitude, lost game 1 after a Mount tanking Tower rush, put Fortitude ahead. Then they had this epic game on Tidehunters, Moon somehow able to win, decider map, Last Refuge goes Beastmaster and wins. Then he's in the playoffs, goes down 0-2 to Lin, one of the best players of all time. He's like, you know what? If there's anybody that can come back, it's me. He comes back and wins. And now he shows up like a brand new player. Today he's like, okay, I've tried out this thing of like falling behind and then having to come back. We're done with this. I'm just gonna go up 1-0 immediately and I'm gonna exterminate this undead player. And he's playing amazing so far. Honestly, that first game, not too many mistakes could be found there. There was a Demon Hunter death. I think that's about it, right? I don't think you can be too harsh for this.
Yeah, pretty much that. And he's stuck with what's tried and true, what has proven to be so good over a long period of time. Keeper, Demon, Dryad, Expo. And then late game transition to tier 3 and Bears and Hippos if the opponent is counter expanding. Moon always amazing at those transitions, knowing exactly when to go for it. I feel like on the top level, that is the hardest thing to master on Night Elf nowadays. Knowing when to transition into what at the right time. It's really easy to make the mistake of staying tier 2 for too long, or not long enough, being too slow with a transition, or dying because you're transitioning too quickly. And Moon, the mastermind, always knows when to do it perfectly. It's been really impressive so far. He's got a level 2 keeper here right off the bat. The DK gonna come in for some early harass once again. And yeah, 1-0, as mentioned before, cannot really counter expand here. I wonder, gargoyles, are we gonna see them or not? And Moon, how's he gonna get this expo running? Because also for the Night Elf, creeping this natural is not that easy.
Yeah, Gargoyles is one of those strategies where if you don't do it very often, it's actually pretty hard to pull off very well. It's definitely one of those strategies you need to be really used to, much like, you know, let's say, for example, for a human, if you want to go Pala Rifle, you better have practiced it a decent amount because it's also so different than the rest of the other things that you would really play. I'm more thinking about the third hero choice and the composition here for 1-2-0 because we saw Happy look unbeatable in that matchup in the Europe finals. And he never ever went for Dark Ranger third. He was only ever Death Knight Lich, except on Echo Isle where he went for Dreadlord third. So vastly different to what we saw last game from 1-2-0. And in the game where there was a lot of bears being made on Conceal Hill, he went for mass banshees off of 2 temples. So perhaps going into a lot of Aboms and like 4 or 5 destroyers, not quite the solution here against the Moon who mixed in units really, really well himself with the right amount of hippos, just a few dryads and a lot of bears.
The problem for Undead in this matchup is because of Demon Hunter, there isn't really a good third hero. Tinker is okay, Naga is okay, Dark Ranger is okay, Pit Lord you could try is okay, but nothing's really good. But the reason why I don't mind the Dark Ranger or any third hero is Dual Hero is really good in the late game, especially in 2-base when you have really good ultimates. That is why Keeper Demon is a great combo. That's why Keeper Panda is a great combo. They both have great ultimates. DK and Lich have horrible ultimates. DK probably the worst ult in the game, and the Lich is very rarely is really good. Has its uses, but rare. So yeah, going for the third hero for that reason, because then you're not going to get ultimates, can be useful. I think the bigger problem rather was the later expansion and the missing upgrades because of the late expansion. So I think really it came down to expo time for 1-2-0. I think this Dark Ranger could have worked, but you didn't quite in the end. The badges are the new flavor of the month, but I don't think you really need them if you played really, really well in those fights. We're close, but we'll see what kind of army they go into. As the expansion was scouted here for Moon, the Tree of Life is coming up, but not gonna get cancelled again.
Yeah, I don't think you need ultimates, like you mentioned. Yeah, I don't see Death and DK being like really amazing out of nowhere here. The thing is, though, if that Death Knight gets level 6 earlier, you might be able to get Unholy Aura level 3, which is pretty amazing. Lich, you know, maybe Dark Ritual level 2 or Frost Armor level 2. But yeah, you usually wouldn't go into ultimates unless you want to be the ultimate king crab that we saw like before for 1-2-0 and style a bit on your opponent. Probably not a good idea against Moon, though.
And there's no crab critters on this map, Todd, so not even a strategy here, I'm afraid. Or wait, is there crabs here? No, right? It's just like frogs and chickens or something.
Sheep.
And sheep, of course. DK coming in with the harass. Oh my god, is he gonna save this archer? Entangle. Oh, did you see that? He was swinging already. Oh my god.
Swing and a miss.
A swing and a miss. Get out of here, DK.
But Keeper will soak the experience here from that Rock Golem. Then this DK. That guy's some serious cojones on him. Still harassing. Oh, that might cost him. He does it staff, actually. He's like, no, I can just run away after.
Yeah. This is a good play by 1-2-0. He's slowing down the creeping still, he's draining a lot of mana, and he forced a lot of experience to go on the Keeper instead of solo XP on the Demon Hunter. Okay, this might be a little ambitious here. Oh, staff in now from the Keeper. He's not getting distracted by this DK. He's gonna slow down the Lich and prevent the creeping here at the natural. Is he trying to tier 2 expand? No, he is going tier 3 already. And the big mana potion, there it is. Ooh, and that's a Fiend. Probably going down as well, although with the statue the lifesaver.
Yeah, DK about to have a coil. Gonna be able to save that. Very nicely done by 1-2-0. Losing that Fiend would have been terrible. Keeper's still on the hunt. It's funny, he was running around. He's like, the Fiend was blocking him. He's like, oh, you want some too? And yet that Keeper earlier. The Death Knight raised his sword and the Keeper just caught his arm and he was like, no, wait a second. And save that beautiful archer. Yeah, Demon Hunter now on his way to level 3. Gonna be a lot of experience gained from the expo. Gets a Ring of Regeneration. I think that Rune Bracer last game was key, by the way. Oh, he denied the last creep, I think. Yeah, Rune Bracers was so amazing last game for Moon.
And if we look at the timing right now, 1-0 at around 40 supply. He could expand right now. Moon has only level 2 Demon Hunter, only a couple of Dryads and Archers. There's gonna be a Destroyer out in a second. Moon is scouting for it with the Wisp. Scouting has been impeccable by the Night Elf. But 1-0 again, not gonna expand. Not yet anyways. Still waiting for that Destroyer form, of course. He's got the money for the third hero. If he goes Dark Ranger again, it seems like he would be convinced.
Yeah, I think
Yet, though.
you can also go Tinker third, like you mentioned. For the push, it can also be pretty strong. And yeah, Moon is just trying to scout as much as possible. Why does he have a red Dryad headed to the bottom right?
Ooh, you don't want to go to that fountain, lady. Alright, just chilling. Alright,
He's gonna
1-0
wait
now.
for the Knights, but that's gonna be a long wait.
And here comes the Acolyte, but the Wisp is still here. And I wonder, shouldn't there be like one ghoul down there dealing with Wisps? Because the Keeper can always just staff in.
Oh, actually, he
Cancel
saw
the
that Wisp earlier, and he ran away from it. That was kind of weird. I thought he would just coil, and then there would be a detonate, but then he probably thought, okay, if I coil this, it's just gonna detonate. Yeah, but the thing is that there is vision now, and yeah, there is the stuff. I'm really surprised that this wasn't dealt with.
Alright, battle for the red camp now. Demon Hunter coming in. He's going to get a couple of good burns. DK has the mana potion early. And big item goes to 1-2-0. Cadgus Pipe. Alright, now we're talking. Dryad got ensnared. Oof. Almost went down.
And this is so well played, by the way, by Moon. Like, he didn't overextend here. So many players, they feel the pressure of the opponent doing the red camp. They're like, oh, I can't let him do this. But it would be a terrible thing to fight now and overextend. So instead, he just goes in, mana burns a bunch, pulls back just on time. And the Keeper walked across the map, killed the Acolyte at the bottom. And so now he has the option to just staff out whenever he's going to need to, but not before harassing the main base a bunch. And yeah, Moon finally broke up Keep. He's going to more Dryads. This time he's going to stay on tier 2. He's just going to get a ton of units and try and defend. The demon gets surrounded. Keeper needs to staff to a Dryad so he can staff the demon out. He's not doing it just yet. Oh, he doesn't have staff for
He doesn't have
reservation.
staff?
That
You
demon
would
is
have
dead.
to use the TP. Would that be worth it, the TP? I think so, but now it's too late. Demon Hunter goes down. That's a big deal. Moon, if he goes for the Tavern Revive, that's pretty much all of his resources. But also a lot of ghouls and acolytes going down. The Keeper is finding kills here in the enemy map, or in the enemy base, I should say. Almost level 4. But this push now by 1-0, quite scary. It is the Dark Ranger again, by the way, with Silence.
Yeah, he has a lot of things to deal with Dryads here. He's already got 4. There's one more statue about to reach on that location. So there's going to be double statue plus 1 destroyer. Keeper actually used Rejuvenation Potion, and 1-2-0 wasn't paying attention. He's trying to put everything on that tree right now to get the snipe and maybe Town Portal out. Wisps are coming in. I don't know if they will be on time. No, they're not.
1-0 staying in the fight for now, looking to see if he can take it. Burrow is ready. Detection will be there. Sentry Ward also spotted with that, by the way. Mana Potion used, TP out. 1-0 did what he came to do. He's going to try to save as many ghouls as he can. Actually, 2 more do go down, but some of them saved. And that was a crucial play by 1-2-0. Slowing down the economy by so much. He's bought a lot of time for himself.
That Dryad on the right-hand side, by the way, waiting the whole time. And now it's finally night, and she's like, I'm home. Just healing peacefully at the fountain. 1-2-0 immediately removes back out, by the way. His Khadgar is giving him so much mana the whole time. Like, of course he was nerfed, but this in addition to the statues and those undead heroes, like, the Demon Hunter is going to have a really hard time keeping them down mana-wise.
Yeah, you remember Tidehunters when in the late game 3 statues were out of mana, which was a big problem? That's not gonna happen this game, because Pipe also works on statues, which is why it's absolutely insane. Seems
Yeah,
like the WarCraft gods want to see a long series here, and I don't blame them. And he gets the invul as well. Oof. It's dangerous for the demon. This ring, of course, is great over time for healing, but to survive the first burst of damage, it's not as helpful as those rune bracers from before, for example.
A town is under siege.
It's going to be so hard for Moon to do anything against this Fiend army here. If the AP is attacking, though, yeah, he does need to fight. He can't let that tree get cancelled. Demon moving back. Dryad on the right side. She's hitting the hot spring retreat there. She hasn't really rejoined the rest of the army of the Night Elves, so Moon kind of forgot about that.
We're getting silenced on the way in. There's gonna be a dispel, but the A-bomb now in front as well. Oh, the demon blocked away from the rest of the army. There's no staff! He could go down to Coil Nova right here. Oof. 1-0 realized it too late, maybe. Ooh, that demon should have been dead. Moon catches a
be.
lucky break.
Ooh, he actually, okay, so he gave up the chase. Perhaps just because he wasn't sure whether there was a staff of teleportation or not, or preservation, which there still isn't, which is really, really weird. Just goes to show how much pressure Moon has been under.
Expo finishing for the Night Elf, but it hasn't mined anything yet. Expo coming for the Undead as well. Scalded by a Wisp, but Moon under too much pressure right now to do anything about it. 1-0 staying in, going for the hero focus now. Keeper in trouble, may have to use the TP. Heal scroll first to stay in this fight. A-bomb goes down, that's a big deal. 1-0 falling back further. Fiend, Borrow shouldn't be enough to save it. There's a dust.
He's not using it for some reason. Keeper, really low himself. Moon really needs to stop preservation here. That Dryad, by the way, still on the right-hand side fountain. What are you doing? Wake up! The team needs you. Okay, he's sending her
Moon
finally.
still push this back. He's in a tough spot. He knows the Expo's coming up. That's why 1-0 is staying in here as well, even if he's suffering losses, because he has the Expo coming at 60% now. Where's the Keeper?
Does he
Could the
staff
Keeper
immediately?
staff to that AP right now and cancel? I think he believes he doesn't have the time with 1-0 coming over.
Yeah, it's too risky. And he's correct, because 1-0 was headed there immediately.
Town is under siege.
But yeah, that Dryad, that hero Dryad finally rejoined the rest of the pack. It's over. I'm here to carry y'all.
And Moon is still in this game. Dude, losing that expansion would usually cost you the game. But Moon is stuck on tier 2. That definitely doesn't feel good. 1-0 though, he had the window there earlier, right? He could have just committed to the tree cancel, but he wanted to stay in a better position with his units, and the tree came up. But he has his own expansion running, so I think 1-0 isn't going to be too dissatisfied with his position. He's got 4-3-2 heroes now. He's still got that pipe working over time, and the DK is closing in on level 5 here soon.
I'm a bit worried for that Keeper here. That guy might get nuked out of there. Oh, he goes for trance first, then entangle.
He's going to have to staff soon if he wants to survive this. Oh, it's going to be close.
Demon level 4.4 now. He picked up a Robo Magi that probably is going to do better if you put that on the Keeper. But having gotten expansion a bit earlier for Moon and having it fully saturated already, starting to build up a bank. Funny enough, 1-2-0 is the one that broke up Keep earlier. On paper, Moon shouldn't really be fighting right now. Oh, he bought a Shredder, so he broke up Keep through that. So yeah, he's just going to go into a standard game from there with Bears. And finally, he has Staff of Preservation, but he just used that on the Shredder, so that means it's not available for the Demon Moon. You can't be forgetting that right now. That would be terrible.
Dryads in the other group going to the expansion. Moon playing this really well. The heroes are harassing, trying to slow down as much as possible because the Dryads would die too easily. They get just one Acolyte kill. It's not the end of the world, but they buy space. Moon is so great at controlling the flow of the game, controlling the map. He needs to buy time and lots of it right now to get a big army. If 1-0 was to force a fight, Moon would be in big trouble. And he doesn't want to mass Dryads right now because those will fall off later. This is Moon playing really, really well from behind now.
He's stealing creeps. Like the last few creeps on the map he's stealing right now with just 2 heroes. This is amazing. 1-2-0 would love to get this. I mean, look at the DK. He's almost level 5. Moon prevented DK level 5 by stealing some of the last few creeps left on the fountain.
And he killed an Acolyte, and he kept the opponent in the south, and with all of that, he bought time for his tier 3 transition. Moon continues to impress, but he still has a lot of Dryads, possibly too many. The upgrades aren't looking that good yet, but Moon's got lots of resources, and Moon is in a solid position again this game if he can hold the next attack.
There is no Necropolis at the expansion, so no opportunity to Town Portal for 1-2-0. He started that now, but it's so late. And Moon, he saw this movement. He had the foresight to understand what was going to happen. He's like, okay, well, I can't defend my Expo now because I haven't fully gone into enough units just yet. So I'm going to just counter-attack instead. He's very Dryad heavy this game, of course, because of the way the game has developed. But he's going to kill the expansion of 1-2-0 very quickly. I'm surprised that's not being unsummoned, actually. There's just no defense possible here. That's going to go down. And Moon already knew he was going to lose his own Expo down. Nice silence on the Wisp, actually. Preventing detonates. And now... Oh, actually, the DK is not 5, but he's going to get it from that tree, I think, maybe.
I think it's
Okay,
a good
not
move
yet.
not to unsummon here, at least not too early. There's bought a lot of time for 1-0 to kill the expansion. If it had bought more time, could have pressured the Moonwells in the base, in the main after. Maybe that's what he's gonna do now. Moon is heading home already. 68 supply against 66. We are very even, but the heroes very clearly speak in favor of 1-2-0.
Yeah, not a lot of upgrades, by the way. 1-2-0 with no upgrades on Fiend's aura bomb, so no upgrades whatsoever. He hasn't queued a single one this whole game. He's just made units. Moon working with 1-1 currently. I think he knows that he probably should go to 80 supply before adding any more of these upgrades. And because he's going for hippos now, he's really, again, trying to counter those destroyers as much as possible. As you mentioned, you know, if you can get rid of them, not only it's very hard for the undead to deal with that keeper, but also they give a lot of experience.
Supporting hippos onto Ancient of Wind on 2 base is a pretty good strategy. On 1 base, it's always very sketchy, especially if you're in upkeep already. Dealing with 2, 3, 4 hippos is very easy. It's only in high numbers when they spiral out of control. So Moon is gonna have to come up with something smart to get good use out of these hippogriffs. Because, yeah, the Fiend Web must be ready, right? Yeah, it is ready. And 1-0 would love to fight right now.
At the point of going hippos is that here in the fights, if the undead wants to counter them, you not only have to have them webbed, but you also need to stand there and target them manually. Because that won't happen by itself. If you do that, you're standing still. If you're standing still and you're not kiting, then those bears, that's when they're gonna give you big hugs that you don't really want and do a lot of damage to you. So a protector being remade in the bottom right. Moon's probably tempted to maybe send the keeper there, get some trance and then staff out, but he transferred the staff of teleportation to the demon. And he keeps on sending those waves of trance all the time. Again, triple trance here on the right-hand side headed there. If that AP finishes, that's a real cancel potential onto that haunted gold mine as well. And Moon, the plan might just be here to mine out his main base and then transfer that tree to the left-hand side expansion. Keeper gets caught for a second, but there's not really any big snipe potential.
On a good position for 1-0 here off the bat. He got mana burned right away. The DK was too far forward, and the A-bombs weren't. The A-bombs were blocked behind, but here it is. Webs land, hippos do no damage, and yeah, they take a bit of fire away from the bears, but they die so quick. It seems like Moon is just getting slaughtered in this engagement here so far. But at least the DK is out of mana, no more coils at this point. But the damage of the Nile side isn't that high. The hippos are having no chance. 2 A-bombs do go down, though. That's big experience going Moon's way, but he has to fall back. Only a single bear left, maybe 2 restless dryads, and his heroes are not up to par against the undead. Even the DK now in the front line, not concerned about the mana burn anymore. 1-0 just pushing forward, and behind this, almost got up the expansion, but it was actually cancelled. I don't know if that was a sapper. It was something, but even without the expo, it is 1-0 here, dictating the pace. Demon in trouble again. There's a staff. And the mains have expired, so Trio of Eternity walking over. That might be the late game win condition now.
Moon is almost completely out of Moonwells here. Just got the one with a little bit of juice. Demon almost level 5, but not quite there yet. This Khadgar still doing work. Okay, cancelling the expansion of 1-2-0 with those 3 trans. That probably gives him a bit of hope. If you can take that expansion on the left-hand side. Right now, 1-2-0's army is not stopping, and it just doesn't look counterable anytime soon. Moon down just to 2 bears, no more hippo at all. Every time he makes trance, that gets dispelled immediately. That's more experience for the undead. Lich getting closer and closer to level 5.
With those double invulns, 1-0 is super safe as well, and the bears just run into the meat grinder. If it's only 2 to 3 bears, you can deal with them easily. Only in high numbers with high upgrades do they become really good. And Moon never was able to get there, with the expansion being so problematic for him. Shredder taken out, Lich almost level 4, level 5 I mean. Dark Ranger, she's about to be level 4. And we're seeing the end of Moon here. Trio of Eternity is at the natural now and it's going to start mining soon, but it's going to be too little too late as the main base is getting completely wrecked.
Yeah, the value of those 2 destroyers here was insane. Every time trans were made close to the fight, he just gets them out of there immediately, gets mana on the destroyers to do more damage onto the bears in particular, and also experience gained every single time. 1-2-0 with a bit of derpy movement here, sends the statue forward, but I don't think it matters too much. 33 supply to 70. Dude, there is an AP against 4 echoes in the bottom right. That might be the last epic part of this game here, as 1-2-0 is about to secure the equalizer by the look of things.
It's Treebeard attacking Isengard right there. I'm afraid, though, this is not gonna end the same way as that story did. As the evil undead forces are pushing forward. This Dark Ranger still has a big question mark for me. Maybe he just treats her as a premium fiend. But 1-0 with some clutch plays this game. That statue save, for example. And of course, the Demon Hunter kill was the big one. Demon Hunter kill that really catapulted him forward this game. And both players then realizing smartly how they had to use their expansions as a tactical piece in their game. GG called and 1-1.
Oh boy, again, such a long game, and the amount of damage it takes to just break Moon is incredible. There was, I think, 2 expansion snipes, there was a Demon Hunter surround and kill, and still Moon somewhat made it close. That is just incredible. 1-0 needs an A+ game, and also Katka's pipe. Like, how good was that item? That is everything it takes to just break Moon for one map, and he needs 2 more. The score is tied 1-1. We are down to a best of 3, and I can't wait to bring you more games like these. We go into a tiny little break, and then we'll see who claims match points. Time for you to fill out the survey that we got for you. If you find ways or have ways to improve the broadcast, or just you want to praise us for what we do, feel free. The survey is up on the War3 Reddit, WC3 on Reddit. Go check it out, and we'll be right back with more Undead vs. Night Elf action. Back at DreamHack, everybody, and I think the day couldn't start any better. Moon with a fantastic game, won 1-2-0 strikes back. Both games absolute top-notch level. And now we go on to map 3. Who's going to take the lead?
Yeah, I think it kind of looked like, you know, Moon was doing really well. He was doing a lot of the stuff that he was supposed to do, except that Demon Hunter surround. That was a little sloppy. You know, he underestimated the undead army. A quick movement, a Nova, and then suddenly if you're surrounded without a staff of teleportation, if your keeper is not there, you're always going to be in trouble. So you cannot be letting that happen again. A mistake this big at this level will usually mean you just lose the game. He somehow got back into the game and it looked like, you know, maybe he was going to have a chance, but then 1-2-0 was like, nope, actually I got Catguard pipe, so get out of there.
Yeah, that was tremendous help for 1-2-0 for sure. Next map is Last Refuge. That is once again a 1-2-0 map. But so far, having map choice doesn't really help too much for the players. Both lost their pick so far. So very good counterplay is available for Moon and 1-2-0 respectively. Moon looking very, very fresh, I gotta say. There's been times where he looked a little tired, big bags under his eyes, but not anymore. He might be 34 years old, but man, he's looking as fresh as ever. And we're moving on to map number 3 in just a tiny second right here. Last Refuge, this was where Moon claimed the victory over Lin yesterday, and that move was just absolute gorgeous. That was A-class WarCraft, and we surely hope that we see this right here again. Match points on the line in the semifinal of the DreamHack Summer Open.
This was also in this racial matchup where Moon played so extremely well against Mikael. Remember that game with the Demon Hunter first? He just completely outplayed Mikael from A to Z with that Demon First. Demon First into Naga or Panda is more popular nowadays again because of a stronger Pandaren Brewmaster and because of stronger Bears, where the rejuvenation is so effective on a Demon Hunter First hero. But it's not Demon Hunter here. It's going to be Keeper once again. I gotta say though, Todd, I was expecting more first hero variety by Moon, but he's just purely sticking with that Keeper strategy. Perhaps really inspired by that Foggy playstyle.
Yeah, I can't fault him for that. Foggy has looked really good, of course. I mean, he's just ran into the indestructible wall that has been happy, but other than that, it just seems like that style is really, really solid. You don't need to do anything fancy. It's just about really good execution, reading the game very well, both things that Moon excels at as well. You don't need to be overly creative anymore. It doesn't feel like there is so much room for it, especially against somebody as solid as 1-2-0. You know, like if Moon was starting to mix in vastly different style, usually 1-2-0 would know exactly how to react to it. So it's just nowadays a lot more about doing what is the best strategy and executing it really well.
Last game with the Catgut's Pipe, we saw an amazing item for 1-2-0, which definitely contributed greatly to that win. Starting off not so well here with the ring this time, whereas we have the claws on the Keeper, which is glorious. Claws, Mantle, Circlet, that would be the dream here from the first 3 camps, but it's going to be Gauntlets here. Acolyte could be taken out now with the Entangle, but the Keeper lets it live, surprisingly, trying to be aggressive.
Yeah, very often Moon likes to get rid of that Acolyte early, so as to deny the scouting of his opponent. Wisp coming in as well. And the coil is on time to make sure that doesn't connect. Moon trying to get the steal, not quite gonna be able to get it. So that's Death Knight reaching level 2. There's still some coil to work with. Actually, the Acolyte is getting sniped right now. And 1-2-0 is not reacting. The trance! He saw it. He's trying to deny the experience. Acolyte!
Oh! Got him.
Got him.
There's no dust here. Oh, but there's sentries. And this archer just sacrifices herself out of the shadows. Rare mistake there. Another ghoul going down as well. Keeper getting bits of experience here and there. Would love to take out another ghoul, but that shall not happen. You shall not pass! As the ghoul makes it back home. And Moon has the expansion coming up. Tree of Life proxy in a pretty standard position.
Yeah. I've noticed that Moon almost never makes the tree before he's fully gotten rid of the Acolytes, by the way. Like every time it's the same. Like he waits until the Acolytes is out of there, and then he makes the tree, and then he still mines for a very long time the undead player's movement. He knows that it's a common area that he's making the tree, and he knows that there's a good chance that, you know, maybe ghouls could go there, maybe the DK alone. So he plays very defensive. He keeps tabs on his opponent through aggression. That's why Moon's harassing right now. Like, he's not expecting to be able to kill a lot here. He just wants to know where the undead is and slow down his creeping as well.
And Moon's gonna have to fall back to the Moon Wells here before too long. And 1-0 at that moment would love to creep the natural. So it's a bit of a dance right now. Are you gonna try to creep? Are you gonna go back to the Moon Wells? Where can I go? What's the proper movement? What's the most efficient thing I can do? The best thing, of course, 1-0 could do is cancel the expo, but it's not really feasible with Wisps being around, with the Keeper ready to distract. But that ghoul actually survives without even needing a coil. 1-0 has almost 2 coils at the ready. Looking at the tree, 900 hit points. Yeah, that one should be safe. And 1-0 probably knows there's a tree right there, but
yeah,
nothing he can do, really.
Just gonna drop a sentry word, which Moon actually heard, so he easily could use Revelation to get rid of it if he wanted to. And yeah, Moon was fully ready here. Wisps in position, Ancient of War moving in that location, Keeper moving there as well. 1-0 squeezes in a small creep snipe here, gets the consumable. Another set of sentry wards. Okay, so he's going to be seeing the whole map pretty much, which is definitely very important and nice on this map. He drops another sentry ward.
Nice. He did that for the vision range to get the coil last hit, because he couldn't have seen the creep because of nighttime. I love how perfectly these guys play around each other, how every little thing is being min-maxed, and it's just so much experience showing. And them knowing exactly how much they can get out of their units at all points in the game. This has been a great series so far. I think both definitely on form today.
Do you think the game plan for 1-0 here is to creep those red camp again and get that Khadgar? Is that part of his build by now?
I think he wouldn't be opposed. And honestly, if you get tier 3 fast, which he will, with destroyers, it's not out of the question that the undead can get both red camps, to be honest.
Yeah.
But getting the bottom right is going to be a little bit weird with the movement, especially if he's looking for a counter expansion again. 1-0 has not been going for the all-in push once, and neither has Happy, by the way. You remember in the European regionals, Happy always counter expanded. He never trusted in the Tinker push anymore.
Ooh, a ghoul actually falls to crypts. Yeah, I don't know how much 1-0, you know, pays attention to these games that are being played by Foggy and Happy, but it seems like he's playing more his own brand of... Ooh, actually that Whisper was connected. He's playing his own brand of Undead against Elf. Moon is so incredibly good at timing out when that second hero is going to come out and where he's going to creep. And he finds True Shot here. Aleria's Flute of Accuracy found on the Mercenary camp. So because he goes into quite a few archers in the start and then Dryads, it's going to be quite amazing for him. This DK is really deep. He could buy Mod Golem to maybe try and slow him down. But Moon is like, oh, I'm not going to waste any gold on this.
Great movement by the Lich in the meantime, by the way. With the sentry, he saw the Keeper coming in and evaded the Keeper and the Entangle. And now there's a statue, and once there's a statue, it's a lot harder for the Keeper to find kills. But it was the Lich not creeping for a while. And the second ring, by the way, for 1-2-0. So very unfortunate items for the Undead.
Tell me.
Forces are under attack.
Moon needs to maybe pull back the Keeper here, but maybe it doesn't feel like he has the luxury of being able to. With the Undead being so close, Lich. There's Nova available to steal a creep. Usually you want to save that for the Magi here. That's really the one that gives the most experience. He goes for the mana burn on the Lich. If he had saved that for the Magi, maybe he could have gotten the experience, but yeah, Nova does a lot more damage than anything else here, so great mana picked up. It might not seem like, you know, it's a super important item for Moon, even though, you know, it's going to help on the Keeper, but taking that away from the Undead, he actually uses it immediately here, knowing that 1-2-0 is right behind him.
There's no Ghoul Frenzy this time by 1-2-0, not valuing the upgrade at this time around.
Moon has only 4 Wisp on Lumber, by the way. Usually that's where he makes a lot of them at the Expo. Okay, there we go. He queues 2 in the main base, 2 in the Expo. Yeah, he definitely, I was like, I can see where this is going. He's going to have 2,000 gold and no Lumber, but he fixes it immediately. He's usually very good at that.
With the Ogre Magi. Where's he going?
He's having a meeting with the other Magi. What the hell?
He's visiting his family today. All right. Family visit over. He's going back home. Last hit goes to 1-0, but item again to Moon. Heal wards, which is amazing. If you're stuck on Dryads, you're not going to have Rejuve to work with, and it's only Dryads here for a while. But the Lich got level 3 with some crucial item snipes in between, gets the big invul potion, which is a big steal on the other side, keeping that away from the Demon, who is almost level 3. But there's no creep camp close by where you can get that level up now.
Yeah, 1-2-0 is up to 50 supply here without a third hero, so it looks like he's keeping that entirely this time around instead of opting to just get a ton of fiends to fight more effectively against those Dryads. That true shot is so sick.
First mana burn connects and there's no coils anymore, and the one creep that's left is actually enough for level 3. Man, everything here in this game is so damn razor thin.
The stars align yet again.
Is it finally time for the Tinker? He's got the money. 4 ghouls still in the main. I wonder, would Frenzy have been worth it? It's the Dark Ranger again. Alright, it's official now, Todd. That's his new style. Dark Ranger 3rd.
Yeah, he seems to think it's what's best. I mean, to be honest, sometimes it's hard to deal with silence immediately. I think it's very momentum based, basically. It falls off really hard later on. If the opponent can get like big supply, it doesn't feel like Dark Ranger is as useful, but silences here and there, even on Wisp, to prevent them from detonating, you know, if you're sieging a base, it has been useful. It's not like this Dark Ranger has just been there the whole time, you know, shooting arrows, barely doing any damage and being completely useless.
Also battle round for 1-2-0. More damage for him, and he's gonna get a level 4 DK. Always a huge level up for the level 2 aura, all that move speed and regen. Gonna bolster the entire army. Moon wants to get his own red camp. With the heal wards, he can creep this so well. Oh my god, these heal wards are so damn amazing. And he's still got 2 more charges as well. Big item here now. But the Expo getting pressure, but again, Ancient of War and AP in position to protect.
It's a Helm of Valor.
Really good item for the demon.
It's already full inventory though. Needs to pass something on to the keeper, maybe the circlet. Yeah, the Expo's on the siege here. Moon cannot wait too long. It's gonna town portal out there. 71 supply right now to 59. Demon at the front needs to be careful. Gets targeted immediately. I think he actually got a lot of mana.
The position here by Moon is next to the shop. He's got the Ancients to help him. Level 4 on the Keeper. Lots of damage from the Dryads. With an upgrade already. And of course the Catgas Pipe. DK again trying to stay in the back. 1-0 usually perfect at kiting and staying at range. But here now, he's fighting against a big concave. This is not looking too bad for the Dryads. They have the superior upgrades here, of course, by a bit at least. Dark Ranger the front line in trouble, but Coil will be there again. The mana burns perhaps not as perfect against the DK. He needs to get off one right now, and he does at 75. Perfectly timed there. DK getting focused, but he's a tanky boy. 950 HP. More Dryads going down. Big experience for 1-2-0 as well. But Moon 75 supply now.
Yeah, the healing ward value yet again here. It drops this down. Moon with a great decision making yet again. Maybe he was influenced by the true shot that he found, by the way. He was like, okay, if I go tier 3, I'm not going to get Bear Masters quickly enough to defend against this push, which I feel like you're going to go for this game. So instead, it just stays tier 2, pure mass Dryads. All of them, they got +2 attack from the true shot right now.
Look at that Dryad Scout. Are you kidding me? Who does this? He's getting pushed right now, but he thinks, you know what, maybe you're expanding on the high ground, and he's absolutely right. What a sick read by Moon.
That's who. DK completely out of mana here. Demon going really low. He can't get staffed on time. Moon usually very good at this. And 1-2-0 is losing. Oh, he's about to lose a lot of fiends here. He town portals, but it's so late. So many of those fiends are going to go down, and he town portals only with 2 fiends. He's Tri-Hero and the Destroyer, and Moon immediately going to pounce on that haunted gold mine on the right-hand side. There's going to be 2 more Acolytes falling, and even if he unsummons, that's going to be a big investment down the drain. Demon's going to get level 4 as well from these Acolytes here.
Yeah, great level up here for him. And Moon looking very much in charge. He's got his tier 3 soon to be finished. 80 supply still. 1-2-0 not working with much army. Honestly, these early A-bombs, I don't think I'm a big fan. They're usually good in the very late game, like 65 supply onward, but early on at 50 to 55, they usually get sniped pretty quick. But anyways, 1-0 still trying. The DK getting focused hard. Invul Potion transferred but that means the Lich is going to be exposed. Next, there's a mana potion on the Death Knight, not fast enough to coil him and heal him and save him. Lich goes down, 1-0, loses the map, and Moon takes match point.
Moon and Mass Giants, man. It's like watching Picasso paint. Isn't it perfect how he does this? The micro is crazy. When he breaks upkeep is almost always perfect. He had the right army ready for the perfect moment, and 1-0 can't break him here. Last Refuge. Again, the Undead's map pick goes to the Night Elf, and yeah, now he's against the ropes. Moon one step away from yet another DreamHack Grand Final, as he was at Anaheim a little over a year ago. But we shouldn't rule 1-0 out. A couple of adjustments can be made. Next map is Autumn Leaves, and things aren't too well figured out on that map, I guess. Plus, it might be time for a counter expansion this time. We haven't seen that yet at all. So, Moon one step away from the grand final, but this series is far from over. We're gonna continue games in just 3 minutes. Back at DreamHack Open Summer, where the greatest of all time is just one map away from the grand final, where he would be facing Focus or Colorful. What's left in the tank for 1-2-0? Will he stick to the guns, or will he change it up a little bit. Autumn Leaves is next.
Yeah, we've been talking about the fast expansion for quite a while, that it is a possibility. This is a good map to do it. The natural is really easy to creep. Yeah, the keeper can harass, but the keeper harass usually isn't that scary, really. You can force it here if you want to. But for 1-0's play so far, it seems like he doesn't trust the fast expo anymore from the game so far. If he doesn't play fast expo, I think he really has to go for a faster counter expansion. You know, that one thing that we're unsure of is the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger, 425 gold. You know what's also 425 gold? Haunted Goldmine, Skull, and Ziggurat. Wouldn't that be the better option? Wouldn't that be the better late game investment? I think it might be. I feel like 1-0 may not be choosing the perfect transition late game. Let's see if he can bring it back though.
All right, he is up against the ropes. I wouldn't mind a full-out best of 5, as we saw from Moon versus Lin. These games are just that damn good. Let's hope that Autumn Leaves is living up to the hype right now. Match points for Moon.
All right, off we go. 1-0. Is he gonna switch it up now finally? With that fast expo, perhaps. Or is he gonna stick with what he's practiced, I guess? It's a keeper again. No Warden first shenanigans, no Demon Hunter. Just keeper all the way.
You talked about fast expansion for Undead. The thing is, Night Elves have really understood how to play better against it as of late, because they've had to face it a lot. And we've seen quite a few second Ancient of War, Hunter Soul, just a bunch of Huntresses and into Glaive Throwers, Ancient Protector pushes, which is extremely hard to hold, especially on a map like this, where the rush distance to the opponent's expansion just feels like it's so short. You can get there very quickly, so it'd be very risky business to go for something like that against somebody as good as Moon, who really understands how to pressure against it.
Yeah, true. Can be dangerous to hold, but on some maps, it can be very strong, especially Echo Isles. It's really good because you have a pretty safe Merc Camp, because the keeper has to fall back at some point. A little bit difficult here. Merc Camp in the middle of the map. As you mentioned, the rush distances are very, very short. So we'll see what we get. Keeper starts off with the Gloves of Haste, kind of the average item of the bunch. 1-0 have had really bad luck on Last Refuge, honestly. He found lots of rings, what you want is Circlet and Claws. But here we stay fair with the double gloves.
You know, you talked about Echo Isle, but that's on map 5 if we were to head there. So that'd be pretty interesting. If he saves the expo, the quick expo for last year. But yeah, Moon fully aware of that possibility of the Undead expansion. It'd be a great way to sell it for sure for 1-0 to not buy the Sacrificial Skull in the start. And then, for example, if you wanted to go for it now. But yeah, as we see, Moon is creeping on the other side with just Treants plus the Archer. He's going to be able to get level 2 in a second. And we finally have the tech here for 1-0. Scouting with an Acolyte very nicely in the bottom right-hand side here for a tree location.
Yeah, this early nowadays, nobody really does it anymore. For a while, we saw a lot of one Archer expansion, which is risky though. You want to tech first, then expand, mainly for the reason because that way you get your second hero faster. And you have to go Demon Hunter nowadays. In the past, of course, it was always about the Alchemist, but Alchemist isn't really a very good hero, honestly.
Oh my god, the keeper.
Kind of meh. As the
he saw there was no ice tower.
Into the main. Oh, wait a minute. Can he kill his Acolyte? Maybe. There's a replacement Acolyte in the south. The Scout Echo has to be brought in, but Moon knows where it is.
He's getting chased by the Archers right now. Moon is one of those guys that will watch every single replay of his opponents before a match against them, and it feels like his research here is showing through the Acolyte. Oh, and he gets it. So that's at least one Acolyte missing. The other one is playing hide and seek at the mercenary camp because he was getting chased by Archers, which, by the way, that was sick. These Archers finished creeping the small green. They went to the bottom right-hand side. They were like, we know there is an Acolyte there, so they chased this one away to the center of the map. Moon, he's so well researched, he's so well prepared, and it shows yet again. He forces the cancel on the tech, and 1-0 will now head into an expansion build.
That's a huge problem. At least Moon isn't going to be able to push that right away, but look at Moon's read as well. He knows 1-0 has to expand. What's he going to do? Expand himself with the tech about to finish.
Yeah, that tech differential is just so insane. Like the tech of 1-0. By the way, he hasn't replaced that last Acolyte. Okay, he's waiting for this one. But he stopped. The Acolyte is next to the shop for 1-0.
Oh,
He moves
goodness.
in, Moon immediately moves back.
Does he see the tree? 1-0 needs to cancel the Tree of Life, but it's nighttime. He hasn't caught vision of it yet.
Okay, 1-0 finally fixed the 4 out of 5 on the gold in the main base. Moon playing very conservative. He knows that he shouldn't be losing any of those archers right now. And with tier 2 about to finish, what second hero do you go for against expansion? I mean, he hasn't scouted the expansion yet, but surely he must know about that possibility. He goes Demon anyway.
This is going to be the best late game option. All right, 1-0 is going to have the faster expansion, but he's going to have such a late tech. We're in a very weird position here in this game. This is not what this matchup looks like normally at all. I would definitely favor Moon's position, though, here, if I had to choose. With the Dryads and Demon, he's going to have a lot of map control here in a moment.
His tech is just so absurdly early. He's finishing the camp on the left-hand side with just archers. He could have maybe gone for some of those green camps on the bottom right, but he wants to make sure his expo is safe, and he's actually correct. 1-2-0 is on the hunt for that tree. He's finally going to find it. He's already almost fully saturated his own expo, so tech should start very soon for 1-2-0, but Moon already has double lore on the way. One archer gets caught. That's dead.
Could be 2 ghouls going down, though, as a trade. Some wisps also being lost. Oh, but the keeper gets level 3, and that's going to be 3 ghoul kills then. Moon looking really good this game. And with a keeper running into the base, killing acolytes. That's a Sonic play. Since when does Moon do that?
I think it's just a thing of he studied replays of 1-2-0, or like he streamed, and then he saw like he skips the ice tower often, and he was like, okay, well, this is well worth. And he doesn't even have to commit either, right? You run there. If the opponent has the ice tower, then you just pull back. If he doesn't, you're like, all right, well, Acolyte's going down. Keeper level 3 this early in the game where Undead fast expanded, by the way. Like, he's like 7 minutes away from getting destroyers. So that's 7 minutes of pain and a keeper running around and tangling everything to death.
And that, of course, means 1-0 has to play gargoyles. He has no other choice. Because Fiends are just going to die too easily. And the second crypt is coming indeed. Could be a big gold mine cancel here, but I guess there's not enough damage. And the Demon Hunter can start creeping already. He's going to be off to level 2 very quickly. Level 3 before too long.
So already got some items to work with.
Look at him go.
We see
at attack speed.
Maybe a Panda third. It's usually what we see against an Undead that goes into Gargs here.
Yes, absolutely. Question is how he wants to time it. Honestly, Moon could also re-expand again. He knows he's got these strong heroes. He knows he's got the bigger Dryad army against Gargs, which are way later. Opting for a third base is the other option.
But it's not even Twisted Meadows, Remo. But yeah, you're right. He could still expand one more time in the bottom right-hand side. While taking to tier 3. Like, he's gonna have the economy for it.
The only thing he's missing so far is a Shredder. Lab hasn't been cleared yet. The Dryads show up. As a third crypt, by the way, is coming. That Tomb of Relics is gonna go down, but it's a cheap building. Not that painful to remake. But he's not gonna get potions. Oh, and that is actually annoying. Would have loved to get some potions here on tier 2 as it finishes. Speaking of which, Pause the Dead finished, and now with the Ice Tower slow, it's going to be a lot scarier here for Moon to stick around, but he's going to try to do as much as he can. Lich starts. 1-0 needs to start a Slaughterhouse, and I guess now he has to set it up at the expansion.
Yeah, 1-0 had to remake the Acolytes at the Expo, so that was a bit of mining time lost as well. And Moon, it just feels like he cannot even really lose any units here as long as he's really careful. Like, he can slow down those ghouls very easily. He's going so deep. It's really like, feels like a, you know, a Sonic-esque game here where he's playing very aggro. Gets a cancel. Oh my god.
Zero rushes tier 3. He didn't set up the Slaughterhouse yet. That's the first big mistake, I'd say. Slaughterhouse should have been coming at the Expo, I feel. Could have been almost finished by now. But he wants to make it in the main, I guess. Or is this the third crypt again? It is the third crypt. Wait a minute. Is he just skipping statues? Is he doing a craft cosplay right here?
He's gonna have to put on some big arm suit and start buying a juice box for him to be able to pull this one off. Oh, yeah, Moon has
to some French rap.
Yeah, Moon has access to the entire center of the map to creep, but first he wants to get the bottom right hand side. I love how ambitious that DK is, by the way. Like, it's like you're never gonna have Destroyer anytime soon in this game, and he's just moving out against a Keeper 3 like very comfortably. Of course, Entangle level 2 not quite as scary against heroes than it is against units, but still you want to be careful.
Town is under siege.
Why have no upgrades yet, by the way? They die very easily to the Gargs, of which we have 4 now. Keeper is still harassing, looking, killing some acolytes. 1 this time. And I can't believe that 120 doesn't have a slaughterhouse. I can't believe it, Todd. I'm in disbelief.
A player's
Better believe it.
forces are under attack.
Because he's going for the full European build. I think he will add it eventually. He makes a sacrificial pit at the expo. So he wants to have some shades to scout with. Moon is actually the one with the big bank right now, by the way. 1,500 gold. Pretty insane. He needs to buy a Staff of Preservation. That was really like what he was missing before as well. Gets Orb and Staff.
And Moon doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with the Garg with Dryads. He's transitioning into Hippos. Which can work, but it can also fail miserably. As we saw in Happy versus Foggy, if 120 adds a Dreadlord, which is the right choice here, it's not going to be easy for these Hippos to win these air battles.
Demon showing up in center. Wolf experience will go to 120. He gets an Ankh for his Death Knight, and he might be using it pretty quickly now. He's going to Town Polo instead. Doesn't want to waste that for now. Better to have it in the big fight later on. And that means Moon will finish this mercenary camp and then can start working on the lab, which, if he gets a Shredder, it's very easy to then take a third and use those extra wisps that you have for saturating that third base. We do see the Panda third here against Gargoyles, which he's going to start power leveling on his own, I think.
That's going to be wonderful. 120, by the way, he didn't remake the shop. He couldn't buy the orb after the TP. Loses a Garg to creeps. 120, what's going on? It seems like a lot of things not going his way. Almost want to say he's falling apart a bit here.
Yeah, not having a Town Polo is the scariest thing here. This DK is already really low. I mean, I know you got Ankh, but you shouldn't be wasting it. Belt of Giant Strength picked up on the Panda. Level 1 with 875 hit points. That must be nice.
What does Archmage start with? 450 HP? It's a different story, right?
325.
Less than a ghoul. Seems legit.
Third win, by the way, for Moon. So he's like, okay, you want to go Mass Gargs? I'll level a Panda and incinerate them. And also get a ton of Hippos with upgrades. Because you have Mark of the Claw. Those Hippos can be really strong. Like, of course, with the new Prioritize against Air of the Gargoyles, it's still way easier to micro than before. And by that, I mean literally attack move, but damn those trends.
Second Gargoyle died to the creeps right there, by the way.
Players' forces are under attack.
Still no Dreadlord. Dreadlord really is a good option in this kind of game. But Hippos with Roar also looking good. And this is why we want Destroyers. You want Destroyers to dispel the Roar, dispel Entangle. I gotta say, this is a couple of weird choices by 120 this game. His transition without a third hero, without statues, isn't that good. But he's coming in right now with the Gargs, with upgrades, and Ghouls. This might be almost all in for 120. Does not have Stone Form here by the look of things. First heal scroll committed. Hippogriffs falling back, taking a lot of damage. Oh, the granite. Is he gonna get it? No way! Okay, he does. But the item's on the ground! The Cloak of Flames. 120, does he see it? He does. Well, it's gonna be a sell, of course. But, well, it's a bit of gold.
Merry Christmas. The fire suit on. That's a lot of Hippos. And yeah, the point really is to, I think, try and get better upgrades. And because he has Mark of the Claw, he can roar with that one single bear. It's very reminiscent of, you know, the mass archers that we saw before, where you go for like one bear and roar. It's kind of the same thing here, but with Hippos instead. What's scary against that is a high-level Lich. with Nova, but in this game, yes, it's 3. But I don't think there's going to be that many Novas available. And the big X factor is that Panda with the orb. Moon is already working with double orb. You can be sure he's going to get a third one there eventually.
It's going to be tons of damage over time. It's going to be a lot about heal scrolls. 1-0 only has 1 at the moment. That doesn't look like it's enough. And he still doesn't have stone form. It's such a cheap upgrade. Only 75 gold. I think. I don't always play Gargoyles, but it's really cheap. And here comes a bit of a creep jack. Drunken Haze applied. Scroll the Beast. And in we go. DK gets level 4. Roar. So effective right here. And it's very hard to tell what's going on in this fight. 1-0. Oh my god. He's getting demolished. Look at the supply drop. Down to only 40 supply left. That wasn't even close. GG is called. Our 4th map will be very one-sided. Moon here clearly the better player. 1-0. Failing a bit, and Moon the legend in the final again.
Oh yeah, DreamHack. Summer has Moon in the grand final.